DPS TeleClass.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Welcome to DPS TeleClass. I am Aishath Khaleela, your English teacher. Today I am again here to take a new lesson for you. Are you all ready for the lesson? So let's start with today's lesson. But before starting the lesson, let's recite the dua for knowledge.
قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي.
Now I am going to share you the learning intention and success criteria of today's lesson. Our learning intention is we are learning about adverbs of frequency. And the success criteria for today's lesson is you will be successful in this lesson if you can complete the sentences correctly using adverbs of frequency. And another success criteria is you will be successful if you can write 7 sentences using adverbs of frequency. Students, look at these sentences and read out these sentences. The first sentence is we always eat healthy foods. The second sentence is it is usually snowy in January. What do you understand from these two sentences? Here I have highlighted two words, always and usually. What are the use of these two words in these sentences? I have used the word always and usually to tell about the frequency. So today I am going to explain you about adverbs of frequency. Let me explain you about adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency says how often something happens. These indicates repeated or routine activities. Adverbs of frequency are used with the simple present tense. Now I am going to explain you about adverbs of frequency. Here you can see a pyramid. Here I have listed down the adverbs of frequency. As you can see, the bottom, the biggest part I have written always, usually, regularly, often, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, never. These are adverbs of frequency. These words are used to tell about how often something happens. As you can see from this, the arrow shows that always means 100%. Usually it is 90%. Regularly is 80%. Often means you do that activity 70% of the time. And sometimes it's for 50%. Occasionally is for 30% and 20 is for seldom, and 10% means rarely, 0% means never. Let me explain you about always. As you can see from the picture, the calendar shows that all the days has been colored. It means that activity is being done every day. So here is an example. I always read a book. You can see from the calendar it has been colored every day. So it means always means every day that activity will happen. Let me show you some more example. They always go to school and Nana always do her homework. I'm going to tell you about how you can use usually. Let me show you some examples. Petra usually plays football. She usually eats some chocolates. You can see from the picture it has been colored on some days, not all the days. Almost all the days has been colored. So it means usually means not doing the activity every day, but almost every day in a month you will do that activity. Let me explain you how can use often. Here are some examples. She often goes shopping. John often eat burger. You can see from the picture often here it has been colored in so many days, so it means half of the month the activity has been occurred. Now let's see some examples of sometimes. He is sometimes late for school. Grandma sometimes bakes cake. As you can see from the picture, sometimes means very few days, not all the days, and it has been done very few days. Now I am going to show you some examples about how you can use never. The examples here are: he never eats junk foods. It is never hot in the pool. I never play basketball. As you can see from this picture, no days has been colored in the calendar. So it means the activity has never happened. Students, let's learn how to use adverbs of frequency in the sentence. The position of these adverbs can be before the main verb. We can use the adverbs before the main verb also. Let's see some example. I always get up at 6:45. Peter usually play football. Tom sometimes go to park. As you can see from these examples, I have used adverbs of frequency before the main verb. The verbs are get up, play, and go to. I have used the adverbs before these verbs. The position of these adverbs can be come after verb to be. The verb to be is are, aim. Let me show you some examples. In the first sentence, you can see the students are never bored. And the second sentence, he is sometimes late for work. As you can see, the verb to be in the first sentence is are. And the frequency, adverbs of frequency is never. So, in this sentence, we can see that the adverbs of frequency never has been used after the verb to be are. Let's see how we can use adverbs of frequency usually and sometimes. The position of adverbs usually and sometimes can also come at the beginning, before the verb, after verb to be, and end of sentences. Let me show you some examples. The dog eats John's homework sometimes. Sometimes the dog eats John's homework. The dog sometimes eats John's homework. Here are three different sentences I have written using sometimes. You can see at the first sentence I have used sometimes to end the sentence. And in the second one I have started using the adverb sometimes. In the third sentence, I have used sometimes before the verb. So it means there are four different ways that we can use sometimes and usually. Student, Let's practice how to use adverbs of frequency in the sentence. Here is a task for you. You have to use the adverbs of frequency given in the bracket and rewrite the sentences. So let's practice how we can use adverbs of frequency in the sentences. Here is the first one. My best friend takes photos at school. And the adverbs of frequency you have to use is never. So let's see how we can use never in the sentence. Here is the answer. My best friend never takes photos at school. Can you identify where I have used the adverbs of frequency never? It has been used before the verb, right? Let's see the second one. Aisha reads magazines about fashion. And the adverbs of frequency given here is sometimes. Let's see where I have used the adverbs of frequency sometimes. Here is the answer. Sometimes Aisha reads magazines about fashion. Where I have used the adverbs. Here I have used the adverb sometimes at the beginning of the sentence. Is there any other way that we can use sometimes in the sentence? We can use sometimes at the ending of the sentence and before the verb also. Let's see the last example. We speak English in English class. And the adverb is always. Let's see the answer. We always speak English in English class. Where I have used the word always. It has been used before the verb. I hope now you have understood how you can use adverbs of frequency in sentences. So now I'm going to explain you how you can use how often to ask question about frequency. You can see from the picture, here is the question, how often do you study with a partner? And the another student has given the answer using adverbs of frequency. I rarely study with a partner. So it means we can use how often to ask about frequency. Let me show you some more examples. Here is the first example. How often do you fall asleep studying? Another example is, how often are you tired? Both the questions are asked about the frequency of the activity. So I hope now you have understood how you can use how often to ask question. Student, let's practice how we can use adverbs of frequency to ask questions. How can you ask about frequency using how often? I'm going to show you some statements and we are going to practice how we can ask about those statements using how often. The statements are play cards, go to mall, eat sandwich, play soccer. Let's learn how to make questions for this when we ask about frequency. For the first one, play cards. How can we make a question to ask about frequency? Yes, we have to ask, how often do you play cards? In the same way, you have to ask, for the go to mall, you have to ask, how often do you go to the mall? And for eat sandwich, you can ask, how often do you eat sandwich? And the last one, play soccer. Here also you can ask, how often do you play soccer? This is the way you can ask about frequency. Let's recall what we have learned today. Today we have learned about adverbs of frequency. Let's see how much we remembered about the position of adverbs of frequency in the sentence. Here, what you have to do is you have to choose the correct option. The first one is frequency of adverbs comes before or after verb to be. And second one is frequency of adverbs comes before or after the verb. What is the correct answer? Frequency of adverbs come after the verb to be, and frequency of adverbs comes before the verb. Don't forget the rule. Student, now I am going to explain you the task of today's lesson. Today I am going to assign you 2 tasks. Let me explain you the task to you. Here is the first task. Your first task is you have to do the activity in your textbook, 5A English textbook, and that you have to do the activity in page 4. You have to only do the question number 2 from page 4. Here you can see the picture I have shown you. You have to do this task in your English textbook, page number 4. Here is the second task for you. This task you have to complete in your English notebook. What you have to do is you have to write sentences for the adverbs of frequency given here. I have given you 7 adverbs of frequency. You have to write a sentence for each and every adverbs of frequency. And don't forget to take a picture of these 2 tasks and send it to your class teacher. And remember to take a clear picture of your task. Student, let's recall today's success criteria once again before we conclude today's lesson. Our success criteria is we will be successful if we can complete the sentences correctly using adverbs of frequency and write 7 sentences using adverbs of frequency. I hope you all have achieved today's success criteria. Student, now it's the time to conclude today's lesson. I hope you all have enjoyed the lesson and learned something new. And don't forget to complete the 2 tasks I have given to you and send the photo to your class teacher. Thank you. Stay safe, stay home.
DPS TeleClass